are here with our first ever show, Sorting Through Life with Colleen Waterston. We are AM 950's newest weekend show. We are so happy to be here, and we are Colleen Waterston and Alicia Narragon, my first organizing assistant with Space by Space Organizing, Twin Cities-based home organizing business. And Alicia, thank you so much for being here with me.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm excited to be here.
I know. We both are.
Yeah.
I feel a little more nervous.
Yeah,
You've been more excited. I've been a little more nervous.
Yeah, I agree.
I've been telling everybody the last few weeks, this has come together so quickly. And I've been telling everybody about the show.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like picturing, Rachel from the gym, like every book club person, my mom and dad. I'm like, oh, what's my brother going to think? And I hope he loves it. So I just need to be you and me.
Yeah.
And get all those other people who are not in the room out of the room of my head so that we can do a great job. But I think it's so exciting to have this opportunity to share all sorts of topics and conversations in the times ahead and the episodes ahead. And so here we are. Here we are at day one. I think one thing people have been asking me a lot is like, wait, what? You have a radio show. So maybe we just start there.
Yeah.
So I told you a few weeks ago, hey, we've got a radio show.
Yep.
And what was your first thought?
Honestly, not surprised. I mean, you've been talking about wanting to do podcasts for so long now, I think at least a year. So just to be here, sitting here now, it's kind of been a long time coming. We're finally like putting your ideas together and doing it. So
we're doing it.
Yeah.
So the full backstory. And I think this episode today, we're really just going to help ground people in what we're here to do. We're going to talk today who we are, what we do, and how we got to be here. And then we'll have a whole segment on different things to expect in the times ahead. And we'll go from there. But so a few weeks ago, I got contacted by AM 950. Someone from the network reached out and said, I saw your listing in the Reuse Minnesota gift guide. So Reuse Minnesota is a nonprofit organization that Space by Space Organizing, we are a member of. I've exhibited at the conference the last couple of years. I go to all the member meetings. I really love this group. It's a bunch of individuals, companies, nonprofits, municipalities in Minnesota that are doing really good things around anti-waste. Our business, as much as we try to be mindful of where things go, there's a lot of trash.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that leaves the house during the decluttering process.
Oh,
so
definitely.
Our clients really care about primarily what stays in the house and how we organize that. But then they also do care. They do appreciate that we care about what happens to the stuff that leaves their house. So Reuse Minnesota I'm just proud to be a part of them. They've actually brought my membership and my involvement with these great people has brought some of the best things to the business. I have some great business advisors that I've met through relationships with that. But so this woman sees our business, reaches out, says, maybe you want to be part of the network. Maybe you want to come and be on a show or do something that we have to offer. And I said, I'm trying to get our social media back up and running. I haven't done a social media post in like over a year.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have that alongside this. We've been active. We've been able to rely on referrals and repeats and referrals. And so we were going to be getting our social media back up and running. I'm like, that's kind of my goal right now. But there was a topic of aging and senior downsizing. I thought, well, these are things that do light me up. I'd love to chat about them. But, I don't know where I'm at. If you're interested, we can have a meeting. She sets me up with Jennifer, the account executive here. We got together at 2:00. I don't think we left till 8:00. She came out to our warehouse location. We have this conference rooms at our warehouse location in Eden Prairie, right down the road here. And we started talking about all the different things that could be talked about with organizing. All the topics that we've been putting on that spreadsheet for years, or different chicken
little
scratch
notes
piece
that we
of
bring
paper.
down.
Alicia, remember this for one day.
Yep.
And through that conversation, she's like, you could have your own show. I said, well, I was kind of thinking that. Like, thanks for taking the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And so we figured out what that entails. And lucky for us, AM 950 has been so supportive in this fast and furious put together of a show. I think a week later, we were in the studio for a dry run.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And now it's the following week and we're recording it for real. So I think, what they offer for us, this great platform and network, we're able to come here and not overthink it. There's a lot of stuff that we manage in our business and a lot of different elements. And this feels like it might be one of the easiest that we do, to be able to show up, bring good content, bring our curiosity for the topic that we're going to discuss, but just be able to come. And Brett, our awesome sound engineer, producer here, it puts it all together for us. I mean, it's just insert us here. And I couldn't be more excited for what's to come in 2026. We get to launch the first Sunday of the year. We'll be on every Sunday at noon with different topics throughout. So here we are. But I think we should backtrack and talk a little bit first about what we do.
Yeah.
Not when we're sitting around the table talking about topics, but what we do when we come into someone's home.
Yeah. So
I think with that, maybe I'll just go through, like, if you go to our website, spacebySpaceOrganizing.com, we have it written out, what happens. So first, if you are interested in working with us, you reach out to us and you would talk to our client relations manager, who's going to jump on the phone with you and make sure we're a good fit, kind of walk through a few key questions to understand what we're going to walk into. And then we schedule that in-person consult for me to come to your home and actually size up the whole situation.
Yeah.
And so that is an hour, sometimes two. It's the most fun time. I tell everybody, I'm the most fun person to invite into your home for the first time, because you can't clean up.
Yeah.
Like, you have to just leave it. You have to show me what's not working in your home.
Yep.
I have to see your problem areas so that I can plan on how I'm going to fix them. And if you tidy up before me,
how are you supposed to know?
How am I going to know?
Yeah.
And so it's very fun for the clients, because, the room that they hope their friends don't open when they come over, the drawer that they're like, oh, no, please don't, is the first that they open for us. And so it's like, oh, these are all my dirty secrets, like, oh, I'm so embarrassed by this. And it's just fun initially in that, you put them at ease. Like, you are not the only person who feels this way.
Yep.
This is why I have a job.
Yeah.
This is not something everyone's good at. Let's take away any of the shame
feelings.
Yes. Let's just get into, talk to me about what's happening here and what you want to happen here. And then I'll figure out the in-between.
Yeah.
I don't need your idea of what you thought you should do for the past 5 years. Like, I can. It is good to know what people have thought about. But it's kind of like, that's the fun, is you're literally hiring me to figure this out.
Yeah.
So we go through the whole house, or we go through the room that people invite us to organize. But oftentimes that room plays with a different part of the house.
Yeah.
So we need to identify within that consult, what area plays here. And sometimes, like, they're not playing nicely.
Yeah.
And that's why we have the problem. Like they interact with each other, and it's like the relationship between the rooms, just like people, like, these fight.
Yep.
These get along. This works well for us. This is good. But this area, this is like where the tension in the house comes from. And so oftentimes, like, for a kitchen, I think it's very easy to be like, you're spilling out of your kitchen.
Yeah.
There's stuff on the counters. There's no system. They're buying things that they already have, but because it's tucked away, they can't see it. And so with that, it's like, we probably need to get rid of like 30% of the items if this kitchen is going to have clear counters.
Yep.
But I think there's probably only 20% of these items that are actually going to go. We're still going to have 10% extra than this current kitchen can hold. And then I can't build you like 2 upper cabinets to hold that 10% extra. So then it's like, well, where can I put those appliances that we only use once a year? Where can I put those things that are easy to go into a different room or
Yep.
don't belong here anyway. So that's where that in-home first consultation is really trying to come up with that before we're back on the clock with the product, doing the work.
Yep.
Like, this is the brainstorming, taking a bunch of pictures so that I can also be thinking about it. We're not going to do this tomorrow.
Yeah.
We might come back maybe next week, but it might not be till next month. It might be, we might do a consult and really not come back to a space for a few months later.
Yeah.
We do something and then we're going to space it out or whatever it is. So just making sure that we get it into our brain and our database and know what we're working with. But that's where we're like, okay, well, there's no extra room in the kitchen, but show me the basement storage room.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, your utility room is magical. And they're like,
like maybe some of those serving platters that don't really get used can go on a shelf down there.
Yes. I think of that that home in Edina that had the basement storage space that was like a laundry room.
Yep.
And then there were the cabinets and then there was this side closet. And I was like, this is dreamy. And I'm like the homeowner who's got like this beautiful house on the top 2 floors. I'm most excited about the cement floored utility room. I'm like, there is so much space here. And this side closet has all this room for all this stuff. And it's just a quick walk from the kitchen. If we can rework this, we're good.
Yeah.
But the client's not like, oh my God, like, can't wait to invite my friends over and show them my utility room.
Yeah.
But I hope that they do, but it's like, I have to work in your utility room in order to free up that space in your kitchen.
Yeah.
So that's where that consult happens. Now that's been done. We've come up with a plan. We talk about like, do we want new product? Do we want, a lot of times, best of intentions, people go to the store, buy a bin, and it's like a 10-inch depth, a 12-inch depth, but they have 16-inch shelves. So they're missing those 4 inches times whatever the bin is. There's square inches that are crucial.
Prime real estate.
Crucial prime real estate if binned correctly. So that's where it's like, okay, well, what's the capacity for more bins? And then you also see in their home, okay, this person really loves black, or there's white everywhere, clear we get to kind of see the aesthetic. There's like woven bins. This is where we make sure that we come with custom solutions to make it look perfect for your home. And then we actually do the work.
Yep.
Maybe you can take it over, explain our process of when we go into someone's home and actually take it all apart and put it back together.
Yeah. So usually we start off with taking everything out: drawers, cabinets, dressers.
Not the drawers themselves. We take things out of the drawers.
Every single item, and lay it out and sort it by kind. Then the client comes in and I think that's kind of when they realize like, oh my gosh, I actually do have a lot of stuff, when they see it all laying out in front of them. Like, I have this amount of these things when I could only have 2.
People are like, oh my God, am I your worst client ever? It's
almost every single time they say that.
Almost every time. And I don't think 80% of the time, I don't think that they have any problem or too much stuff. I'm like,
it's just not utilized space.
I think that this is an appropriate amount of stuff for the amount of people in this home and for what you do. It's startling to see it on your floor.
Oh, absolutely.
Or on tables and surfaces. Yeah.
And then usually Colleen will kind of sit with the client, go through each item one by one. Like, okay, is this staying? Is this going? Is this donate? Or can it be repurposed for something else?
And it is me going through it with the client. We try to have one lead organizer be the main person talking to a person, because it gets there might be multiple people on the job, but it gets confusing. So we, focus that. I am a talker, but I am very good at moving that process along and reminding people that they're on the clock. And so it's like, let's just move through it. Let's get through it, because this is the fun of it. All you have to do is tell me your relationship to this stuff. And then we're going to go put it back better. So it's very exciting for a client, because we do all the heavy lifting of the removal. Now we go through it and all they have to do is tell us what they want. And if you're there, you're throwing the things in the trash with their approval. You are putting things in a donate bin. You're putting things by the front door to go back to your sister because you forgot that you still had her, muffin pans from when she brought them over, like we're really identifying and we're putting things where they go
Yeah.
right away. So now the sort is over and it's only what's left that's going to go back in that space.
Yep.
And then the client gets to go away, do whatever else they want to do, and we get to start putting it back together.
Yep.
And that, I think, is just so much fun.
Yeah.
I think that's where Alicia is like, her ability to do a meticulous job. Like if I'm giving out who's going to do what next and there's something super focused and dedicated, I'm like, okay, Alicia, you got this,
Yep.
you got that drawer. And so we kind of divide and conquer from there, bring in the client throughout to make sure, especially if we're changing a big routine, coffee, how you wake up in the morning. But then ultimately at the end of the day or the end of the project, but throughout every time we leave, we try to make it as tidy as possible from where we were. We could say, all right, like our work here's done.
Yep.
Enjoy your space. So, okay, well, I think that people now kind of understand if I'm hiring an organizer, this is what's coming into my life. And then we'll close this part of the conversation out. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more specifically about topics within the organizing process that we personally find fascinating and worth further exploration. So we hope all of our listeners do as well. All right, we are back sorting through life with Colleen Waterston and Alicia Aragon today here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. And we are your progressive organizers of Minnesota here. So now we've kind of shared, here's what home organizing is all about. I think if anybody didn't know, happy to share more, but there's a general idea of that.
Yeah.
I think people are like, well, who are these people talking about it? Yeah, they organize, but what? So we'll give a little backstory about us, introduce you to who we are. So my journey into organizing, we could go way back to childhood, right? Like I remember having Colleen's collection corner because I loved a collection and I loved an alliteration in my childhood bedroom. There was rocks in one bin, stamps and milk ads, Beanie Babies, but I had a lot of collections.
Yeah.
And I always enjoyed having them in their own little order. I can remember other times that I wasn't organized in life, but it was COVID. I had been home a lot. I had been working on things around my house, and I got a job at the Container Store. And it was 40% off for employees pre-inflation. And it was like the joke at the Container Store was like, someone asked about a product. Oh, ask Colleen. She owns the store. Like I would have like one thing from every area. Like I just loved the Container Store products. And I was at the register a lot. And I would always ask people, what are you using this for? And I learned some of the coolest ideas for products that I'd never would have thought of. But I just really loved the idea of I loved using the products myself. And I loved being part of helping people come up with what they should buy for their solutions, and it was a time, especially like I said during COVID, I didn't miss like the deep friendships. I felt like I had my people who I still could talk to, and I was in my pod with my family and others. So I could still talk to people. I miss those like interactions in the aisles of Home Goods, and Target, where you just kind of, oh, that's so cute, And at the Container Store, customers weren't talking to each other, but they were still asking questions of staff.
Oh, yeah.
So I was still like getting those, mid 2020 and on, getting all of those interactions. And I loved it, and I was surrounded by something I loved doing. But ultimately, I was like, after a year and some months, I was like, I think I want to organize in homes.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to start my own. So I worked under a gal who used to come into the store a lot, and she was always so nice to everybody. And there were a lot of organizers that would come in, but she was just particularly nice and always friendly. So I said, hey, I'd love to organize. I've always enjoyed being around you. And so I started working for her for about half a year. And ultimately that led to starting my own business. So the last few years, it's been space by space organizing.
Mm-hmm.
And I love managing the relationships with my own clients. I love being able to do things my own way. Anyone who knows me loves knowing that there's those like things like everything's okay as long as it's my way, something. And so, I do have a lot of ideas and opinions, and often believe in them pretty full-heartedly. But so you came along a few months in,
Yeah.
very
Mm-hmm.
early on. I was organizing my esthetician's cabinet. It
Mm-hmm.
actually took 4 hours to do it that night because we pulled everything out and really made what goes for facials best. And they have all these different, the inspector comes in and this has to be
Oh,
in a
yeah.
closed
Mhm.
bin. This has to be, so we had to really comply.
With the rules and
Yeah.
regulations.
She said the inspector came in and it was the fastest inspection. They're like, "Oh, you're crushing it."
That's
We had
impressive.
labels. It was so good. But so during that process, she put something on social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I had literally just been talking to my boyfriend maybe a couple days before how I would love to organize people's houses. And I was a licensed esthetician at the time, but kind of transferring out of it just due to COVID and everything and wanting to go in a new direction. Saw that she had posted that and gave her my contact info. And then Colleen contacted me, and here we are a couple years later.
It was like, because I had come from being on a team.
Yeah.
So I had done organizing. I was the third.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew what you could get done in a day
Mm-hmm.
with 3.
Yeah.
But I was doing it by myself, proving that I did love it and that I could do it. As a talker, I think working with her first helped me see how to get in and out of someone's house in a day and
Mhm.
accomplish a lot.
Yeah.
But it was just too much already. And I thought, I'm going to call that girl and so I think I texted you.
Mhm.
We got together for coffee like
Yep.
2 days later.
Yeah, I think so.
I was like, well, why don't you try this job I'm on? We'll
Mhm.
do a little trial. And we haven't left each other's side much since.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so lucky for that. And I think we've got a great working dynamic. We love our clients. Our
Mhm.
clients are part of this for us. But so I think we should also now share what people can expect. It's
Yeah.
not just going to
Mhm.
be us
Yep.
shooting the breeze, talking about how much we love what we do and each
Yep.
other. We're going to have a very dynamic programming ahead. So we're every Sunday at noon here on AM 950 and every streaming podcast, wherever people listen to things. We're going to figure out all those channels. Thanks to Brett and AM 950 for helping us do this and do it right. Very exciting. But the first Sunday of every month will be dedicated to that behind closed drawers. So we get to go into people's lives, see so many different things. And I think there's a lot of patterns.
Yeah.
We
Mhm.
notice sentiment
Mhm.
of feeling bad that they can't do this.
Mhm.
Like, why can't I just do this for myself? I'm a bad mom. I'm a bad professional. I'm a bad adult. It's like you're not. There's a
Yeah.
lot of expectations.
Everyone's having the same issues that you're having or similar issues. It's not just you.
Yes. And I noticed like just the shoulders
Mhm.
kind of go down when we're there. Like, oh my God, I've been stressing about this for so long.
Mhm.
And now these girls are just going to come and take that away from me.
Yep.
What a gift we get to do for people. That's our job. It's just
Mhm.
coming in and sizing up what's not working and making their lives a little bit better.
Mhm.
Like physically removing what's no longer working.
Yep.
All good.
Clearing out that space for them.
I say we solve puzzles.
Mhm.
Every day is different. And that's what I love is like we will never, even if we go back to someone's home again and again for varying reasons, we'll never do the same thing twice.
Yeah. Mhm.
We're never going to go through the exact same set of items twice. We're never going to, we've moved things around in a way that there's always forward momentum.
Yep.
Some days feel like we moved mountains and some days are just little hills, but,
Mhm.
or maybe we dug a hole for something to fit into, it's valleys and peaks.
Yes.
But it's all toward forward momentum. But I think specifically with those topics, I brought some books. I brought some props for us today to show that we want to go deeper. Then we want to be able to take the topics that come up in the past few years of doing this in people's homes again and again and bring them to the surface. So let's go with like kind of pile by pile here.
Okay.
So this is a book I picked up from a NAPO member, National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals, which I've been to their conference the last couple of years, member of that organization. What is clutter costing you? How you're paying for clutter?
Mm-hmm.
How many times do I say to someone, like, we pay for ourselves when you don't need to go buy new batteries?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Or go restock the thing in their pantry that has actually been sitting there behind something this whole time.
Yes. Or they can see, I think there's so many auto subscribes.
Oh, yep.
It's like, okay, let's just hover over you while you go to Amazon and click that little thing to say one-time purchase.
Yes.
You know, I mean, we got through COVID and had enough toilet paper.
Yeah.
So we can keep getting toilet paper as needed.
Yes.
You know, we don't need to have rooms dedicated to that. You know, so it's just like being able to say, and sometimes there's like supplements or things that people are very inclined to set up auto.
Yeah.
But you get behind, and now you've got 3 bottles of the same vitamin.
With more coming each month.
Yeah. So not knowing what you have, not having it be accessible. So there's almost this feeling like I need to go buy more. I think that by being able to inventory someone's life through their stuff, it allows them to be more intentional with their stuff and their purchasing moving forward.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an intervention.
Yeah.
I very frequently refer to us as an intervention. More than pretty boxes, how the rise of professional organizing shows us the way we work isn't working. Maybe the way we shop isn't shopping, the way, you know, so these topics. Okay, now this little stack here, productivity. National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals. So there's a lot of people out there who are doing great work around how to be more productive. I think that there's a lot expected of everybody these days.
Yeah.
But I do think that developing strategies around how to keep our lives moving, there are proven ways that we can do things better. So I've got, you know, Free to Focus, all about productivity. This I won. Ellen is a very Productivity for How You're Wired is a book written by Ellen Fay, a very respected organizer. And Declutter Your Mind, How to Stop Worrying, Relieve Anxiety, and Eliminate Negative Thinking. Like with these books as our starting points, we'll do our best. We haven't reached out to the authors quite yet, but of course they'll want to be on. Who wouldn't? Sorting through life and reading books. But I think that speaks to like a lot of the mental clutter.
Yeah.
Our service for sure helps that.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like people don't always take into consideration, like if my house is a mess and cluttered, that's going to wear away at your mental health. Like if you don't even know it, little by little.
Or I think of that really high achieving woman that we organized, and she was like, I've got the fancy sleep alarm clock. I've got the fancy sleep watch. I've got the ring that tells me how bad I sleep. I've got a new pillow. I've got the aromatherapy. I've got a book about how to sleep better. And I'm like, okay, well, you also have all your grad school papers underneath your bed. You throw everything to do in your bedroom closet. So those 2 elements alone mean that you have, you know, your past haunting you from underneath you. You've got your future haunting you to the right. You know, it's like, why don't we relocate those things?
Yeah.
You know, and because it's just heavy. You know, let's make your bedroom a relaxing place. And then you might not need that fancy alarm clock anymore. You know, I mean, by all means have it, but I think we sometimes buy the solution when the fix is actually under our bed. You know, just getting rid of stuff. Okay, let's see here. I've got another stack, 2 just like topics. Photo organizing. That's I don't know if I'm ever going to be organizing other people's photos. Case in point, I pulled my physical ones out to organize, and 3 months later, I finally finished. I'd have a couple work sprints, like 8 hours, you know, and I got the right photo organizers. they look great right now.
Mhm.
But I just never had the time to finish it right until I hosted people for the holidays
Mhm.
and was like, I'm not just going to shove these in a box.
Yep.
But it was the day of people coming to my house and they finally got taken off the table. And I feel so excited about that. But photo organizing, that's a whole topic. I have this book using feng shui. And I think that there's just design elements that I would like to learn more about. You
Mhm.
know, I'm not a master of all that much. But I can ask questions,
Yeah.
you know, and find out more. 2 books here I have are on what every professional organizer needs to know about hoarding. Stuff. I'm really excited to read this one, Compulsive Hoarding and the Meaning of Things. I bought this one for this podcast to read
Okay.
it and think maybe he'll come on. I saw this Randy Frost is going to speak at the Institute for Challenging Disorganization.
Mhm.
So we've got I think everybody's interested in the H word.
Oh, I definitely agree. Yeah. I usually get asked about that when I tell people that I do home organizing. They're like, "Oh, like, have you ever done someone who's a hoarder, or have you helped out with that at all?"
And we have
Mhm.
or hoarder adjacent
Yeah.
or inherited hoarding.
Yeah.
I think the inherited hoarding is a toughie.
Yeah.
Because it might not be the next generation stuff,
Mhm.
but they might have the tendencies themselves because they were raised around this um, environment of hanging on to things. So, but that's something like I also, um, that's a client I'd probably not always take.
Yeah.
You know, that's not our expertise.
Mhm.
And I think that a lot of times hoarding connects with different mental health elements.
Yeah.
And I would want to honor that somebody should work with a professional who has the professional experience to really have the compassion, the knowledge, the support,
Patience.
patience.
Yeah.
That is something I've never been described as having. Actually, one family who is our closest, you know, we call it the H word. I say excessive collecting,
Mhm.
that the parents were excessive collectors.
Yes.
There's 3 children and a child-in-law left with all this stuff. And the sister says, "Oh, Colleen, you're so patient." And the brother says, "She's not patient. She's just good at deflecting." And I said, "Yeah, he's probably more right, you know." But we'll talk about all these things in the time ahead, and we'll talk about them in ways that will bring in the right experts so that we
Yeah.
can bring tangible tips and tricks to understand. And that is not the only topic. That is just the last of this segment. Come back, and we will wrap up talking about even more exciting topics ahead. So just taking a short break. This is Colleen Waterston with Sorting Through Life. All right, we are back for the third segment of the first show ever of Sorting Through Life with Colleen Waterston here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. And I am here with my trusty sidekick and gal who's up for all the things, Alicia Aragon. Alicia, we're almost through it.
We are.
We're almost through section 1 or episode 1.
Mhm.
Okay, what do you think? What else
Um,
do you think that we will be covering? What are some topics that you think we need to queue up in people's minds?
Yeah. One of them, we're wanting to have some of our past clients come on, talk about their experience and like what they liked about the process, what's worked for them, and kind of where they're at now with their house and what we've implemented and what they've been able to keep up with.
That's huge to me.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
think one thing that we are very good at, I mentioned earlier in that initial consult, like seeing what plays with the house and
Mhm.
like really trying to, you know, honor where somebody wants organized,
Mhm.
but honor our process and know, like, all due respect, if you just hire us for the kitchen and you don't let us go into that storage unit,
Mhm.
you're going to need us back next month. Or
Yep.
like you won't be happy, you
Mhm.
know, because you need 2 more upper cabinets.
Yeah.
You know, so I think being able, like, love so many of our clients.
Oh yeah.
Like it has been such a fun experience to be able to go into people's homes and lives and just boldly tell them how to do it better.
Yes.
It's like, this is my job. I get to just go tell people how I would do their life. So much fun. But people have a lot of fun with it. And even I've told a handful of our clients that we're doing this and they're all signed up. They're ready for it. I think we're working on a companion YouTube series behind closed doors as well to be able to, you're going to be helping to edit that. I think that's going to be an extension of what we're doing here to really kind of like pull back the curtain on what this all entails.
Yeah.
To just normalize the messes of people's lives so that we can have a more productive starting point than this Instagram world where everybody shows their highlights. And I can just see our clients like sitting on their couches, scrolling, being like, how do they keep it together? And looking up at their own mess. And it's like, oh, no, like they've got messy drawers too. Like everybody, even us professionals. So I think normalizing that client experience and really exemplifying it will be fun. It'll be fun to bring them in. And we'll be able to show before and afters on the video component of things so we can talk through the process and durings and just kind of like really get into what does that look like? What does it feel like? Were we worth it?
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
So, every time. What else do you think?
Honestly, one of the topics that I'm most excited about for us to kind of dive into later on, and honestly, we'll probably end up doing a couple different episodes on it, but just neurodivergency and organization. There's so many times where we'll go into someone's house, and with me, like I have ADHD and autism, so it's kind of easy for me to see it in other people if they have it. And even if they're not diagnosed or anything, people do things certain ways, and you can kind of tell that with ADHD people, oftentimes it's more convenience over the aesthetics of things. Like, how easy can I make this but not make it a mess, not have it in my way kind of thing. And yeah, so I'm excited to dive into that and the different psychology behind how having like ADHD and autism can differ how you organize and how you do your life.
Yes. And I have diagnosed ADHD as well. I got that a few years ago. I was reading an article in just a women's magazine of sorts, and it was like, do you have ADHD? And I remember thinking, like, this is the trend of the day. And then I started reading it, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Maybe there's some validation to this.
This is interesting, but I'm not like an unruly young boy in elementary school. That's what it always was associated with for me. And I started to learn more and buy more books about how ADHD shows up in high achieving women and smart women, and like this showing the world that you've got it all together, this masking, and you're like, I am so overwhelmed by myself, and being able to, so then learning more about my brain, and alongside from an organizing perspective, I think, you've said before, and we say we can work 3 times faster in your house than our own. So when we use our brains to hyper focus and direct it on someone else's stuff, it's really like the ideal moment for our brains.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we get to problem solve, we get to fix something quick. It's fun, it's interesting. We have a process to it. We have to start and finish something in a day, but we don't have our own laundry to do.
Exactly.
We don't have, our own to-do list right set. We're on the clock. We're going to do our best to serve your home, and do the job that we came here to do. And I think within that, we've learned a lot about our brains, and we're constantly, because we're fascinated by it, learning ways that we can use that knowledge to better serve our clients.
Yeah.
Especially maybe there's a parent who is neurotypical, but as a child who's neurodivergent, and they can't understand why the room can't be kept clean. So it's coming up with solutions that are, like they say, one step for ADHD.
Oh, absolutely.
So, at a conference I was at recently, there was a whole presentation about ADHD, and it's like, this is the clients that we take off doors. Like, if we can take off a closet door and make it that you don't have to go open the closet door and put something away, but if there's just an opening and you get to put something away.
My closet doesn't have a door.
There we go. So we're going to dive more into that. I have a book here just on solutions for people with ADHD. I subscribe to this attitude, I think is how it goes. It's ADD, attitude, a magazine. I get the newsletter. There's always things about how our brains work. And I think what this really speaks to is just a widening of understanding about brain's abilities.
Yeah.
And brain's functionalities and our gifts and our strengths, our weaknesses. I think that this matches like able bodies,
Yeah.
and athleticism and things that like I am not good at, but I'm good at this, like I am drawn to this and I'm not good at that. And there's so much to learn from experts, not us. But I'm so glad that in the public space we're really giving a lot more room for conversation around the spectrum our brains operate on, and how someone who it might seem like, oh, that's got to be a struggle. It's like when put up against something that it would struggle hard with, yes, it is a struggle. But if I direct it like for you, I find that you are so good at focusing on like one task, meticulous. I always give you the tedious tasks. And it's not because I don't like you. It's because
that's where my strong suit is.
That's where you thrive and you like it and you lose track of time.
Oh, absolutely.
The other day we were in a basement and there was like a tool shelf and one of those fancy Craftsman tool containers. And the client and I were upstairs. We had Sierra working in another room. It was like all hands on deck in different directions. Yeah. And the client and I are working through paperwork. And it's like, she's thinking, we barely moved. Nothing's getting done today. Yep. And we go downstairs like 5 hours later. And what you did to the tools and to like the house stuff in this space, it was like we had given her a whole new home. Like the HGTV reveal. I took a video of it because I was just like, this is a disproportionate response to these tools being so organized, but it just looks so beautiful. And it was so meticulously done. And it was like thousands of dollars worth of stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And now it's beautifully sorted in a way that you aren't going to go to the hardware store and buy a new $20 thing because you can just walk downstairs and look through your thing. That's a task that other people would maybe need a little bit extra time on or would need to, come up for air. It was like, no, Alicia's got it. And we go down at the end of the day. And I think she even forgot that you were down there.
Probably.
And so it's like, what? You've done this? So there's that. I also have books on the topic of Swedish death cleaning. So our first week of every month will be very specifically on topics of behind closed drawers, really diving into that home organizing process based on our experience, the different things that come up from being in people's homes. The second Sunday of the month, we're calling that Dying to Get Organized. Now, my dad is a lifelong funeral director. I was raised around that business. My brother and sister went into it. My brother does pet cremation now. Death has always been something that my family has been very comfortable with, but it's something that every person on this planet has in common.
Yeah.
And I think Americans, by nature, are a little bit more resistant to talking about it. And I actually think that when you think about the fact that one day you will no longer be in this physical form, it can be a great motivator. I say a few things. I say, don't wait till you're dying to get organized. You should be dying to get organized. That's where that little clip comes from. I say, leave a legacy, not a burden. I've always been very motivated. There's a cartoon I've laminated and brought to clients where it's this dad and son standing in a garage full of stuff, to say it nicely. And the dad looks at the son and says, son, one day all this will be yours. And I think there's so many people, like especially this sandwich generation, where they're taking care of kids, they're anticipating the needs of their aging parents if they're not already in them, and the burden of stuff. There's this thing called millennial inheritance. A guy on Instagram who just talks about all the collections being passed down.
Yeah.
And the parents are like so offended that the kids don't want this
old China set
treasures. Yeah. China set, the things you used to call in on the 1-800 number, like the Danube plate collection or whatever at Danbury. I don't remember. I just remember a lot of 1-800 numbers as a kid and how much it was marketed, this collector item valued at this. But if you order in the next, that was like how our parents were kind of the Amazon of before, the impulse buying, the dopamine rush was that 1-800. But I think that that's something that's really interesting, and bringing my dad on, I am so excited for that. My dad is just, I will say he's the most reluctant co-host. He's like, oh, Colleen, just focus on your stuff, and like, are you sure? Are you sure? And okay, yeah, and all right, I'll give it a try. And I'm like, Dad, you have so much that people can learn from.
Oh, absolutely.
So we do have a new email. You should at sortingthroughlife.com. So when people have ideas for us, you should do this, you should do that. Email me, you should at sortingthroughlife.com, but to ask us the questions you have, to point us in the direction of something you would like to explore more. But I think my dad will be a really fun co-host. And I think learning from him, he doesn't realize how much experience he has. To the right of me here, I have this thing called a knock box. It's at a lot of different organizing conferences, like a filing system for putting all of your life's files together. And this filing system is really meant so that when you pass, somebody can take the knock box and be able to know what they have to do to help manage your estate. But then the third week of every month, we are doing the filing cabinet of life to talk about some of those administration things, taxes, password protections, all those different things. And then the last week we'll say, that's so interesting. So all the different things that come up. We're recording this from Minnesota. We're known for passive aggressivity. And we say, oh, that's interesting. But we are saying, no, that is so interesting. Like, we want to know more about these different topics. So, we're nearing the end of our first show here. I'm so appreciative for you joining in. You're always alongside me for the adventures of the day. And I hope with this show, we can't get into everybody's homes. It's not humanly possible for us to show up and organize everyone's homes. Certainly if hearing us makes you want us in your home, please reach out, spacebyspaceorganizing.com. We're happy to meet with you on that regard. But this is just so fun to bring an offering that allows us to share some of the wisdom, experience, expertise that we have, that we've learned from being in people's homes and be in anybody's home by being in their head. We get to be in their home, and hopefully we'll come up with a lot of tangible tips along the way, and we'll be able to share things and just get better and better at this. But I can't, I'm so excited.
Me too.
I think we've got a lot of good to come. So thank you for listening today on our first ever radio show podcast here at AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. This is Colleen Waterston with Alicia Narragon. We are here to sort through life.